Hi, I'm Gerald Mason, the Senior Director of Buffalo Futures, and you are watching the Buffalo Futures Getting Ahead podcast.
Hi, my name is Jy'Ahzhanne Taylor, and you are watching the Buffalo Futures Getting Ahead podcast. Today, we'll be discussing men's mental health within our community, and I have my guest here with me, LeMoyne Hill. Please tell us about yourself and your business.
My name is LeMoyne Hill. I'm 27 years old. I was born and raised in Buffalo, New York. A little bit about my educational background. For middle school, I had went to Campus West, and I bring that up because, that was a grammar school that got closed down in Buffalo. Actually, at the time I went there, and I hear now that it's rumors and don't get me wrong, speculations of other grammar schools being shut down in the city currently. But moving forward from there, I graduated as a Hutch Tech alumni in the year 2016, and my other education was not inside of like a college room setting, like most people probably did after high school, but I went on and got different certificates and license, like my life, health, and accidental insurance license in New York State, uh, Georgia, Ohio, and I'm licensed in Alabama as well. I also took a certificate through Duval College for community health work, which I actively do now in Buffalo, and other organizations throughout the process of my middle school and high school years, like the Community Action Organization, which most people know as the CAO, Science, Technology, Enrichment Program, and like Upward Bound, were other programs involved in my education that bridge the gaps for me getting through my education as far as middle school and high school. And that kind of look now just in my professional and more older years of me using those same different certificates and the educational basis into the programs I do for Great for Life.
Okay, that was going to be my next question. So, how do you feel like your previous educational background has inspired or pushed you to start Great for Life? Like, what was your biggest inspiration behind it?
Uh, well, the biggest inspiration behind it for me was kind of like it was more instilled. So before I would leave and go out to school, or if I would go to like a program or went to basketball, my mom would always say to me and my brother, greatness is in you, go achieve it. So that kind of became a mantra that I took into my entrepreneurship life and business world when I
Mhm.
started to brand Great for Life.
Okay, I love it. So, with Great for Life, can you just tell us the kind of work you do behind it?
Uh, Majority of the work that I do behind it is involved in empowering youth and giving them a non-traditional route of learning that involves self-development,
Mm.
financial literacy, and leadership skills.
Okay. So, what do you feel the biggest misconception about financial literacy is within the black community and within our youth?
I think the biggest misconception, with financial literacy is that the black community, from whatever I've experienced, doesn't have a foundation
Mm-hmm.
or a structure of what financial literacy looks like. So, for most people in our black community, I feel like we don't spend a dollar or value our dollars in the proper places where we should save and invest them.
Where should we be saving our dollars and where should we be investing our dollars?
We should be saving and investing them into our economy,
Mm-hmm.
uh, our literature, as far as what we use and educate ourselves. I feel like too, because that would give people outside of like a basic education some type of direction with what we end up doing or seeing ourselves being as far as in life.
Okay. So with you doing like youth development work and with financial literacy, do you ever see any correlation with mental health?
Uh, yeah, definitely. Because one of the most unfortunate things about like our communities, just like other communities that's under service or challenges, that the quality of living and like the quality of resources and education is the main one of the main and biggest things that's taken away. So when it comes to doing mentorship with young people, giving them realistic, inspirational examples to follow as far as what is the right uh, image of somebody that's saving properly, or what does a work ethic take for you to build up what it'll look like to build financial freedom, and have an idea of what financial literacy is in your life.
Okay. How long did it take you to obtain the knowledge of financial literacy?
Uh, I think it's ongoing. It's like a growing process. It's something that I feel like you could only get better at and always find areas to grow in. But I think the point where I started to realize and use systems of financial literacy, it took myself about 12 to 24 months. I would say a solid year or two of using the right things and then seeing the results from how they work.
Okay, I love that. So my last question for you today would be, what would be 5 pieces of advice that you would give any young teenager with the knowledge that you have today?
I think the first thing I would say to any young person coming up today in 2025 is that you are valued, you are intelligent, and just because you're young, don't think that you should know it all and that you're loved. Because one thing, I guess, my first piece of advice would be to gain your own relationship with God, however that looks like, because like I said again, we're young and we don't know it all now, but staying grounded and faithful to the Most High can give you everything you want to pursue. My second piece of advice would be, um, if it doesn't evolve you, it shouldn't involve you. So certain people, places, and things can go with you in the process, in the journey that you headed towards, especially when you start to get a little bit older and you want to get some of your goals and like dreams accomplished. My third thing and piece of advice for a young person would be to compete but don't compare. Like, we're all in this world where it's a lot going on and people put on these images and build themselves up to be all types of things, but stay focused on what's for you and like chase that purpose. My fourth piece of advice would be to be open and stay teachable in the process, because some of uh, the best students are the greatest teachers in this game of life. And the only other thing I would say is to stay dedicated and disciplined for anything you want. Like, don't quit once you come across a challenge or something that you feel like is a failure, because that's not going to stop you. Like, the only thing that's going to stop you is you from overcoming the certain barriers and necessary things that we need to learn to overcome what's stopping us all from being the people we want to be and desire in our lives.
Well, I love all of that advice and I will follow it myself. So thank you very much. And before you go, I would just like to ask you, can you let us know any of your social handles again?
Yes, I am on LinkedIn and Facebook as LeMoyne Hill. That's my first and last name, LeMoyne, last name Hill. And I'm also on Instagram as Moneyroom716. And I'll be opening up more platforms as far as a website where people can engage and be involved with things that I'm doing actively on a day-to-day basis.
Well, thank you again, and it was a pleasure to have you today.
Thank you. Appreciate this opportunity.
Thank you. And now we have another young man by the name of Quentin Polk, who also happens to be one of my best friends. So can you tell us a little bit about your brand, Survivor's Remorse, and what inspired it?
What inspired me was the trauma went through. Um, Losing my dad, I was 21. It was my birthday, and you would think, you know, you turning 21 is supposed to be laughs, memories, and it just was trauma. And from that day forward, I told myself I need to do something in life, and I just sat down. I'm like, what am I good at? And I'm like, I'm an artist. I could draw. I could do graphic designs. I'm nice with a computer, anything. And it just made me want to create my brand.
And that goes a little bit into your educational background, correct? Can you
Yeah.
tell us a little bit more about that?
Attended Niagara University, went 4 years, got my degree in criminal justice, and I have a minor in fine arts.
A minor in fine arts. So that's how you started the clothing brand? Is that what inspired you?
Yeah, I have a lot of sketches going way back from college. Even in high school, middle school, I still have all my artwork, and I just still put it all together in my work today.
Can you tell us a little bit about your experience at Niagara, and did you ever face any mental struggles there?
Yeah. So freshman year was rough. Ended up first semester didn't do so good. Ended up failing, but there was a lot of reasons behind it. It was a transfer from going to Batavia to Niagara. It was way different. I was always in a strict household. My mom, she kept me straight A's. And then I went to Niagara, I had freedom. And, didn't want to do schoolwork, skipping class, falling asleep in class, and wasn't doing so good. But then freshman year, it was like halfway through. I had one roommate. He had called me the N-word, and they had moved me to the other dorm because they said I was a threat. But we have a black dean. You would think she would understand, but no. And ever since that day, it made me realize, like, the environment you're in, you never know. Like, anything can just disappoint you. Because, like, you would think the amount of money people spend to go to college, you would think they wouldn't have to face that, and you would think they would have some people in the staff who would understand.
So facing all of the challenges that you did at Niagara and even later on in life, what kind of pushed you to beat the odds that were faced against you?
Honestly, I would have to say my mom. I never seen my mom quit. She's been through everything with me, from from burying my dad. She's always been right there. That was my mom. She just never quit. And to me, it's like I can't let her down. I told her I'm gonna win. I'm gonna win for her.
I'm proud of you. Sorry. When people think of the brand Survivor's Remorse, what impact would you like it to have on them?
I want them, as soon as they put on my clothes, they know you're not alone in the story you tell, because every piece I make is it always tells a story, and I just want that to relate to everybody, because I know everyone faces hardships in life, and they just as a man, we're not allowed to express our feelings, so it's music and clothes, and that's what I love the most. And I told myself, with everything I do, it's always going to have that storyline behind it. My first couple of pieces was always I brought it back to my dad, because he's really my reasoning behind a lot of things I do in life. And I just had to pay homage to him. And it was a way where I'm still connecting and letting other people connect with my life and my story.
So going back to what you said, as a man, mental health is kind of a struggle for you. So how do you navigate or cope when you're struggling mentally?
It's still hard now, but I find my ways. some days I just listen to my music, and I have playlists that just like help me. You know, when I have no one to talk to, just put my AirPods in, just listen to some music, and it always like clears my head. Or I just go on car rides.
What song inspires you the most or helps you out the most?
NBA Youngboy, They Ain't With Me.
They
Real.
Ain't With Me?
Yeah.
Okay.
Means a lot to me, because that's facts.
Okay. In the next 5 years, where do you see, in the next 5 to 10 years, where do you see your brand, Survivor's Remorse?
To me, I see it big, because I know what I'm about to do coming up. Like, I'm putting it on for sure. Like, I've been sitting back for too long, and I know I got some work to do, and I can't wait to drop.
Do you see yourself collaborating with any big designers?
Not to start off with, but eventually I would. But for right now, I just want to just keep evolving my story to see where I'm going to end up in life.
And how can the viewers find more of Survivor's Remorse?
I have my Instagram, Survivor's Remorse with 2 underscores, and Facebook, Survivor's Remorse.
Okay. Well, thank you for being here today, Quentin. Now we're getting to our next guest, Domonique Johnson. Hi, thank you for joining us back at the Buffalo Futures Getting Ahead podcast. Today I have here with me Domonique Johnson, mental health counselor. Can you start by sharing a bit of your business, Coaching for the Culture, and what inspired you?
So I'm Domonique Johnson. I am a certified life coach. I also have my master's in clinical mental health counseling. Coaching for the Culture started during the pandemic. I was at home and I was just looking online, and I just saw so much stuff going on with mental health. And so I thought, what can I do? And so from my house, I started doing lives and mental health challenges, and I just decided I was going to start helping connect people with counselors. So I would look up counselors for people and help them, find stuff that matched their insurance just straight from my house. And so it kind of started there, and it just took off and branched from there.
So in your life, do you have anybody who's close to you and mental health that you kind of wanted to help even more outside of your profession?
Yeah, I have people in my personal life who have mental health diagnoses, but just really most people have something going on with their mental health, and even just at the baseline, mental wellness should be important for everybody.
Yes.
Yeah.
So we just sat through 2 very strong stories about young men who have opened up about their personal journeys. So in your professional career and hearing all of that stuff, what kind of thoughts did you have?
I think it always saddens me, but it is a reality to hear men talk about mental health and how they don't really have a safe space, or it's kind of a taboo or shun thing to talk about. Unfortunately, it is the norm, but I want more young men and men in general to really feel safe to talk about their mental health and the things that they're experiencing.
And with us being, women, obviously, how do we open up that conversation to men, especially young men, and allowing them to know that, hey, I hear you and I see you, and just providing them that safe space?
I think as women, it's creating safety. And so sometimes we have to kind of disarm some of our own stuff in order to be a safe space for men. And so just on both sides, we have things that we struggle with, or things that we've had to combat. But when we're trying to be a safe space for another person, sometimes we do have to kind of park ourselves, not in a harmful way, but just in a way that allows that person to share. And so as women, I think allowing them to share without being defensive, without taking everything as a personal dagger that we need to kind of respond or rebuttal to, and kind of letting them really just express how they feel. I think that's a good place to start as women.
Okay. And then for men in general, how do we get them to feel like, okay, it's okay to be vulnerable, and not just among women, but among each other?
I think we need to normalize having the conversation. I think men need more mentorship. They need more coaches. They need more therapists of both genders who are kind of championing and having the conversation and making it the norm instead of one time a year type of thing.
Okay, I love it. So how do we look for the signs in young men of color or young women of color when they are struggling mentally, from your licensed opinion?
I think the signs look different for everyone. And so I could say, oh, if, someone's withdrawn, but, you have people who have functioning depression. And so they can be a person who is lighting up the room and talking to everybody. But when they leave, all those that, they can't sleep well, or they having challenges doing just their daily activities. The way I like to treat people is I treat every single person like I don't know what they're struggling with. Like, I think if we met everyone with that grace, that everyone has something going on, instead of I got to see something to like take extra care, I think that just as a community, we could start, the process of healing.
Yeah. And how does that make you feel when you hear people say like, oh, well, they seem perfectly fine to me, but that that's not always the case. Like, they could be struggling really hard.
When I hear people say things like that, for myself, I think it's more of a personal reflection of themselves. So maybe it might potentially be not wanting to take accountability, because sometimes when you miss the signs and something happens with someone, we can start to feel responsible, and a natural response to that is, oh, well, I didn't see anything. And so I think not making people the villain, but having conversations about what it looks like on every side.
Okay.
Yeah.
So with those safe spaces, are there any outlets in our community that we can look for young men of color?
That's tough. That one I wasn't prepared for. I would have did research. I'm sorry to break character. What is the name of that event? What is the name of the event? I can't place it, but there's a event that that Brown Bag is a part of, that's specifically for men. And I know they partnered with some other mental health agencies, and they all kind of come in and do like this space where it's just men helping each other heal and talking about mental health.
Okay.
Yeah.
So lastly, how can people get in contact with Coaching for the Culture?
So we do have a website. It's coachingfortheculture.org. We also have a Instagram page, Coaching for the Culture. And on the website, it gives our contact information, phone number, email, things like that. But I do have one more thing that I want to say. I think something that's really important when we're talking about how do we get to the next place with young men and men in general with mental health is, I think we need more people to step up as mentors, coaches, and therapists. And so the importance of mentors for young men is, a mentor is someone who's saying, I see something in you. I don't need anything from you. I see something in you. There's value here. And then a coach is someone who's like, okay, so now you see your value. I'm here to help you put that down and help you make a plan to get to the next step, right? And so a therapist is there to say, okay, so you got the plan, you're seeing the value, but now we're also going to work on the change, right? We're going to work on some of the, some of the trauma, some of those background things that might be holding you back. And I think creating that infrastructure within our own village is very important. I'm not a person who believes that we have to wait from money from somebody else to pay for something. We cannot expect people who harmed us to heal us. And so I think we just all have to personally champion around these different areas of mental health ourselves.
What does it look like when you're breaking those barriers of trauma, especially from people who harmed you and you can't do anything about it?
It is very hard to heal where you hurt.
Mm-hmm.
So sometimes you need a level of separation because hurt people. Mm-hmm. And so hurt people may not have the language to help you with your healing. And we want to feel like it's their responsibility, but our healing is also on us. And when we take that power back, we give ourselves the power to go and do something about it ourselves instead of giving all of our power to the person who may have hurt us. And so I feel like once you do that and you separate yourself, you start seeking those areas and those places that can help you. So whether that's counseling, whether that's finding a mentor, whether that's finding coping strategies, just starting off sometimes with separation, but not hiding. There's a big difference between healing and hiding. Mm-hmm. Some people separate and they cut everybody off every single time. And now you create a pattern of hiding instead of actually healing. Healing is uncomfortable. Sometimes it involves going back to the person that hurt you and, talking it out. And sometimes it doesn't. So, yeah.
Well, I just want to say thank you very much for joining us. And I love all of your insights. And one more time, can you just say all of your information, your handles?
Yep, my name is Domonique Johnson. I'm the owner of Coaching for the Culture, so you can find us at coachingfortheculture.org or on Instagram at Coaching for Culture. And look out for our new book that will be coming out soon, Complex Trauma, the Poetic Experiences of a Little Black Girl.
I can't wait to read it. Thank you for watching the Buffalo Futures Getting Ahead podcast. For the next 4 episodes, Buffalo Futures will be having guest hosts, and I'm your guest host today, Jy'Ahzhanne Taylor, the founder of Blaze Athletics Cheerleading, a competitive cheerleading team in Niagara Falls, New York that fosters and empowers athletes at an affordable rate. And as always, we'll see you in the future.